Hey guys, what's up? Here is this week's Smart Money Sundays episode. I'm going to be going over a few pairs. I'm not going to go over a ton just because I've personally stopped watching a lot of them, just because looking at too many things will honestly overwhelm you and it does negatively impact your trading. It really does. Just trying to focus on too many things at once, it's not beneficial. You think that you're going to miss setups or you think that you're going to miss the perfect trade, but in reality, you start to watch too many things and you do miss the right trades. You do miss the perfect trades. You don't need to be looking at 20 different pairs, right? Looking at 20 different pairs, I can assure you, you're going to miss out. Invariably, you will miss out on the good trades and then you will take the bad trades. But when you look at only a couple pairs, not a couple, but about five, it's very beneficial because you don't get confused and you don't miss a lot of movements. You don't miss a lot of the big moves on certain pairs, right? So, like all last week, I had a pretty good idea where EuroCAD was going. Um, as far as this trade, I took a trade within here, within this candle, this leg down, I took a trade within there. And then I'm currently in a trade now just because I'm paying attention to what this is doing and I'm not focusing on, 10 different pairs going over every little movement. I'm getting a higher time frame bias and I'm working my way down onto the lower time frames to get a general idea of where we're going to go. So, starting on this pair, we're in an overall downtrend, right? So, we have this really big impulsive move that we have not come into yet. So, we might push all the way up to here and then go down. But this is one leg, pull back, another leg, okay? So now this is a drive, retracement, and a drive. Now, like I said, we haven't traded back up into here. So could we come all the way back up, hit this level, and then go down? Sure. But for now, I'm going to also be playing off the lower time frame structure. The lower time frame structure is telling me that we're going to continue down, right? So if we look at what we're doing here, we've been trending down, and now this is another leg to the downside. So last week we had a candle in here that we traded into right here. So we had this right here, this right here that we came into and did not break above. So we traded into this after taking this high, and then this move. So you could look at this as a break of structure, right? Break of structure here. But as you go along, you'll start to see the little tricks that the market makers use. So this really wasn't a break of structure. This was a push above this high to sweep liquidity. So we swept liquidity and then we started moving down. So now, moving on to the lower time frames, we came into this candle, right? This was structure right here. Lower low, lower high, lower low. And what did we expect? A lower high. What did we get? So, yes, it came within a pipette of this wick. It almost pushed above it. But what did we do? Well, we actually distributed in here. We sent this out. So we distributed, right? Came up, missed a little, enticing smart money traders to go short here. Came up again, took the high, and then went down. So now what do we do after that? Now, this week, we traded up into here. So we trade up into here. We did not break above it. And we start doing the same type of thing. We come up, make a high, sweep it, make a high, sweep it, make a high, sweep it, break structure, come up, and now we're testing it, right? So I personally expect this to go short. I expect it to come down into Sorry, I'm trying to readjust this. So I expect this to come back down. Really 1.54 or 1.454, or we could come all the way down to here, 1.449, but you could really just say 1.45. It depends because banks do like to trade off of round levels. So we here, we could come all the way down easily, but I don't know if we're going to hit this level. The banks might just push it to 1.45 flat, right? Because this is not a big difference on a higher time frame or from a higher time frame perspective. So pushing it down further wouldn't be that significant, right? Pushing it down to here compared to here is not a big difference. So in general, I think we're going to head lower. Could we come above this? Maybe. Is it likely? I don't think it is, but we could, because this is just leg, pullback, right? Leg, pullback, leg, pullback into here. And now we had a little break of structure, we had distribution, so it would make sense to test it and go short, right? Now, looking at the higher time frame levels, we have the 50% of this down move here, right? So 50% here. And then I think that is a very reasonable level to come into. Like I just, mentioned to you guys, we could get a pullback down into this or just 1.45 flat, but I do think we're going to head lower. The price could decide maybe to push back up a little bit, right? It could push up a little bit into here and then it could go, or it's just going to continue and respect this lower time frame structure. This structure here, lower high, or lower low, lower high, lower low, potentially lower high. Coming into this level, they came into this level, they came into this level, right? So we're just following the order flow. Now moving on to AUD CAD, I wanted to address this one because this is a bit conflicting. So I'm thinking that Euro CAD could head down, right? But AUD CAD actually just came into the weekly open here. So now this candle was the last down move before the up move, right? And we just traded into that. We also had a break of structure. This break, test, break higher, test. So now what could happen? Well, we could come into here, test this, and then continue up. We'll have to see, and we could wait for a lower time frame confirmation at this level. But this is very reasonable to get a retracement down into here to later head back up. So that is something that I'm looking for in AUD CAD, and it's something I will be cautious about because I want Euro CAD, or think that Euro CAD is going to continue down, right? However, this weekly level will most likely hold because it's just following structure. We have this candle that we haven't come into. We had this candle. So if we were looking at this from a structural perspective, we have this high, low, high, right? And then we could be creating a new low here to continue up. So that is what I expect on AUD CAD. And the thing is that EuroCAD has that weekly level, but it could pull back deeper, like I mentioned, in which case this would pull back as well. So this could pull back to hit this and then short. And then EuroCAD could also just pull back now, hit the level up here, this weekly up close, and then continue down from there. It just depends. It depends on, and sorry for pausing so long between times. I just don't want to start speaking before I get the right thing up. So it could just pull back up into here since we did make a lower low. So now this is a leg, could pull back, right? That's very reasonable. We just need to wait for the lower time frames to confirm what we are actually going to be doing. But AUD made a very nice push into this zone, and now I really think that it could end up turning around here because we started making counter trend structure in the opposite direction of this trend. So I guess the intermediate trend, 4-hour trend, this, you could look at it like this and then a low, or this low, sweep of this to run liquidity, low, and then now if we come above this level, it'll really be confirmed. So if we close above this, that'll confirm it for me, confirm the long, because this is pertinent structure. This structure down here, this little candle, that's not pertinent. That's lower time frame. Pertinent structure is up here at like 9,550. And if we break that, we're probably going to pull back and then continue up. So that is what I'm looking at on AUD CAD. Now looking at gold, this is kind of what I'm seeing here. So we had this leg, pull back, leg, pull back, leg. Now this right here was actually an easy trade right here. Up close, right? Put your high or put your stop loss above this high, and as soon as it came into that level, it just dropped. Kind of bottomed out here, left equal lows, so I think that we can eventually come into that. But really, what price could do, it could come all the way back up to this and then go again, because look at what happened. This was here, price came up, hit it, and just went straight down, right? Here, price might come all the way back up here, hit it, and then go straight down. It's very reasonable for that to happen. That expectation is reasonable because this was a strong level, obviously, and this reacted off of that strong level. So this level will also likely be strong. Do I think that it's going to come up there? Probably not, but it could. That's not something that we should not consider, right? So we need to be aware that it could come all the way back up, but we also need to be real and look at areas of confluence. This is an area of confluence here, right? Last up close, major up close before the down move. This is the push that brought us into the level that I just deleted. So this push up brought us here. So we have a lot of volume within this candle that we probably are going to hit and then mitigate, right? Now this here lines up with this. This candle. So imbalance. Negative 27 lines up with this. So we could catch a swing from up here, right? Could catch a swing here and bring it all the way back down into here because this is imbalance. It's a doji candle. So we have orders trapped in here that we need to come back to. And the 78.6 also lines up with the open of this candle here that I was just talking about. So this is just a higher time frame leg, right? Higher time frame leg to pull back and then continue short from. So that's what I'm expecting on gold. This one is, I don't want to say it's retail, but it's really just more structure based, not a ton of smart money, but it's been following structure too well to ignore what it's telling us. This is just really, I think, one big corrective move down into this level. And you guys can kind of see that. People are probably going to try to sell it off of this, and then they're just going to run it up into here and then head down. That's what I suspect, but we'll have to wait and see. This is just really a huge flag. I think, though, that gold is probably going to just continue up, to be honest with you. This level should suffice down here where this box is. Now moving on to GBP JPY. So GBP JPY, I honestly think it might just continue up because we didn't come into the level exactly that I wanted. I wanted it down here a little bit more. But what did we do? We came down, ran out all of these lows, right? Ran out all of these, this low here, and then we came up, failed to make a lower low, made a higher high. Now we have these wicks. So you go to like the hourly, what you could maybe expect if I get rid of this. So let's try to find a good candle. I want to kind of go through it here. So this candle could suffice because we have these lows here, or this low. It's a low, a single low on the higher time frames, but on smaller time frames, it'll look like a bunch of wicks like it did a second ago. So now this will probably be a run on stops here, a run on stops here. Now we have inefficiency here, doji candle that came down and tested really where we ran out the liquidity. So this level has a lot of pertinent orders resting at it. So the banks had to sell and then buy up, right? Now they generated this liquidity. It's probably going to get swept during New York tomorrow. And then we'll see a run up into the daily up close that I have here. So daily up close here, last up move before the down move, and then there was a high here. So we had this high that we ran out, break of structure. So now this is a valid candle to play off of, right? Valid candle. And then we have, like I said, this level here, we could just push down a little bit right into here and then continue up. So that is what I expect on GBP JPY. Moving on to GBP USD. We actually came into, I believe, a 12-hour level. So we had this 12-hour candle that we hit. I kind of anticipated it, right? I expected it to hold just because of the way it looks. It's kind of an intuition thing, but when I see candles like that, I do expect them to hold. However, we are in a major uptrend, so I was cautious. I didn't just take a trade off of it. I'm not in a trade on this pair, but I'm not surprised that it held. We actually kind of distributed. We had a really big head and shoulders, which was a bit surprising, but we could be looking to head a little bit lower. I wouldn't be surprised if we push down before we dip back up again, because we do have some orders that we need to come into down here. 12-hour time frame. It was this candle, and then I refined it. I just worked my way down. So just refine, keep going. 7-hour, 6-hour, 5-hour. That's 5-hour doji, and that is the cleanest time frame that you can see it on, and the 3-hour. So there is a single selling candle within this whole move. So where do you think we need to come into? We need to come into here. So now we're testing this level, and honestly, it might hold even though it's head and shoulders because it has a buy to sell candle. So we had this head and shoulders, right? But then we had a really big buying candle on the higher time frames within here, and that's kind of what it's testing right now. So this definitely could push down. I do want to see it come into this 3-hour level and then continue up on the higher time frames. So that's what I'm expecting for GU. Now, last one for tonight, probably. I am going to cover one index, but for EU, we have this. So we ran the high here. So run the high. And then we reacted. And even though we reacted, we never broke structure. So we pushed higher. And then now we are pushing down. We actually might be good to continue short at this point because we had this. So we had this high run out, this high run out, this high run out, which also ran out this high. And then this high just ran this one out. And on probably the 30-minute it's going to look like. Yeah, so we bought up and then sold off. So hopefully we come up, test it, and go short, just because I do want to see lower prices on this, like GU. Not long term, but at least short term, because we had all of these lows that we ran out and we've never tested them. And the negative 27 lines up almost perfectly with it. We've made almost 100% retracement, but that's likely because we have some candles in here that we are now mitigating, little 1 minute candles up in this wick, but we'll see. I do want to see price ultimately come into here, which is why I do want to push down and then push back up. But there's not much we can do other than wait for New York tomorrow, give us an opportunity to enter either long or short. But for tomorrow, I think that we should head down, or that's at least what I'd like to see. Now, Nasdaq is the last thing I'm going to be covering. I wanted to come into this 3-hour candle here because daily time frame, super easy. I actually bought a few shares on one of my apps. I didn't place lots or anything on MetaTrader. I just decided to buy some shares. So sell and then buy up, came into it. Now it's reacting nicely. We've now traded above this wick on the daily time frame, and we've started forming some bullish counter trend structure. And honestly, we broke this. So I think that we should be good to continue up. So if you want to buy NASDAQ, then that would be, I would agree with that. It's by no means any advice, but I do think NASDAQ is going to continue long at this point. So that is it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys liked it. I hope that you found everything in here useful. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to message us or leave a comment. Our Telegram is at Ariel FX Trading. So, as always, thank you guys, and we will talk to you all soon.